with Intention, podcast where we bring you stories from around the globe. Hello and welcome back to Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. And today I have a beautiful guest with me, Dr. Chonta Haynes. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so glad to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. And you're a powerful blend of faith, business strategy, personal transformation, leadership, and so on. So I have so many wonderful questions for you. So let's get into it. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? How long maybe you've been there? Things like that. And then we'll get into the questions.
Okay. Well, what if I told you that I live in a beautiful city or state that's nice and warm? You're probably going to guess I'm in Florida. So I am a Floridian. I absolutely love being here, but I also like to bring the sunshine to other people. And what does that mean? One of the things that I get an opportunity to do is to help those that are thinking about business, they're in business, they're not getting things done. It's personal as well as professional development, coaches, things of that sort. And sometimes somebody's like really struggling or going through a transition because as women, we go through transitions, right? And as we're going through, we're feeling uncomfortable, we're feeling overwhelmed, we're feeling unprofitable. And so it's no longer sunny. Well, I help to bring the sun back out and make sure that you know what problem you solve, who you're helping, and all of that. And I do it in such a way that it makes it fun and exciting, and you just feel like you're moving forward in everything that you do. So I bring the sunshine in. How's that?
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I've never heard it that way, so I love it. You also have a title called the Destiny Designer. What does that
Yes.
mean, and how did that become your mission?
Well, there's a couple different titles that I'll use. The Destiny Designer is I try to help women, or I do help women build according to how they were created so that they fulfill the purpose. I always say that your mission is important, your vision is important, your voice is important, and your life story is not over yet. And somebody is waiting uncomfortably until you show up. And so that's where the destiny designer comes in, is I help you design the destiny that you were intended for. But I'm also known as the biblical money management expert as well. And so I have a couple different frameworks that I use that you won't find anywhere else. They're unique frameworks. But one of the things that I get an opportunity to do is to make the complex simple. And when I do that, we move forward in life. And so you fulfill your purpose instead of climbing the corporate ladder and figuring out that the ladder is against the wrong wall. You do it according to your destiny.
I love that. That's beautiful. So a little bit more about your background, perhaps. Like, so looking back at your own journey, what experiences shaped you into the woman you are today?
Oh, I absolutely love that question.
Thank
But
you.
now I have to say, I've got plenty of years. So originally, I'm the person who has the corporate America experience for 20 plus years as an engineer. So I've got that left brain thinking going. I'm going to give you the systems and the strategies. I'm going to give you the data and the logic. But at the same time, I also have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in theology and a bachelor's in Christian counseling. So I'm going to give you that faith side as well. So I married the two together. I was academic operations officer at a Christian university for 20 plus years. So
Wow.
I've got both of those. And then I moved over into the coaching space. Well, the reason I did that is I went through a transition. I ended up with a great divorce, meaning a divorce. My divorce was final 1 month shy of 30 years. And so a lot of women I saw were they were unable to identify what they needed to request as they were going through. I found that 90% ended up in poverty. And I said, not on my watch. Let me figure out
Mm.
something for them. And then that transition also went from me working for another company coaching to me doing my own thing and saying, no, this is not really for me, that what you're doing doesn't marry what I know I'm called to do. It just doesn't feel right any longer. So one of the other big things is I make sure that you're in alignment. And so that my story or my experiences go both on the corporate America side, the curriculum development side, the teaching side in the school system, as well as now the coaching side, where I get to take all of the experience and the expertise and put it together. I say you need to know a person's credentials, but you also need to know the crisis that they've walked through. So I've done the grief, the loss. My middle daughter passed away years ago now, but I get to talk to people who have lost children. Most people are not in that membership, as I call it, but it's a club nobody wants to be in, but it's something that we need to be able to walk through. So those hard places in life, I'm not afraid of. I've been there. The uncomfortableness, as I mentioned before, I'm able to help you navigate through that so that you can confidently live life on your terms with peace and financial security.
Wow. And I love how you blend things together. And you know what? I found out the same thing with myself when I was starting my business. Because when you first go in, honestly, I have no business background coming from the background I have, growing up in the village. So for me, it was a lot of new things. But as I was getting to know about myself and what I'm capable, then I started like, why should I just do one thing when I can blend it with all the other expertise I have? Because I have travel background, I have hotel management, background. I started combining all my knowledge because, back in the day, people would say, "Oh, you're all over the map," and then I stopped. And I was like, "I may be so." Because I travel a lot, sometimes I had to leave a job, start a new one, new passion came, and so and so. I
Mhm.
said, you know what? At some point, I was looking at it as a negative thing. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. I have so much valuable things I can pull from each one of these areas, combine it together, stir it up, and see what else comes out of it, right?
You
So,
are uniquely created,
yeah,
and your genius, your value added proposition is definitely different than anybody else's. And
yeah,
so, yes, we do niche down, and we don't want to say, hey, I'm good for everybody, because we end up talking to nobody. And I know you've
yeah,
heard that before.
yes,
It's true,
yeah,
but it doesn't mean that you can't say, okay, I'm called to that person who wants to travel but looks at the specific hotels, and they are really more a luxury brand
mhm.
than somebody that's just traveling just, on a budget. They're two different people.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you find a way to mold it to your passion, your purpose with more, because you can't serve everybody. Like
You can.
we're meant for specific things and we polish it, master it, and that's our goal, right? After that. But I
Love it.
I totally agree with like I recently met a lot of people who grieve like moms who grieve their passing children,
Yeah.
and it's interesting how recently actually my aunt passed.
Oh,
Today was
sorry
the
to hear that.
funeral actually. Thank you. And her
Mhm.
daughter actually died a few years ago, actually fell off the balcony. It was an
Oh, wow.
accident and everything. But my aunt went into such depression
Mhm.
and everything else. It was very hard for her to cope with that. Eventually, she also felt sick, and one thing after another, and she passed away. But she was very young. But I hear that very often, like it's very hard for. Of course, it would be for parents to
Lose.
live and something happens to their children. So my condolences to you as well. So
Yeah.
so many topics to cover.
So many topics to cover. You're right.
But
But let me say this, Eva. It is the grief can be I lost a person, I lost a child, I lost a relationship, I lost a job. I lost my identity of who I was because I'm no longer in this particular corporation or relationship. And so we're finding ourselves. That's where that destiny piece comes in, is that yes, you feel the emotions, but it does not change what you're supposed to do. It actually highlights it. I don't know
Mhm.
if you've heard this story. People say you don't know what you're really like a tea bag. You don't know what's in you until you're placed in hot water.
Yes, I've heard it.
I'm a
I
tea
actually have
drinker.
that.
I guess you can tell.
Speaking of tea, I have one right here.
All right. See, fellow teetotaler.
There we go. So I want to get into more transformation and purpose. So many people know they want something more from life, but feel stuck. What is
Mhm.
the biggest obstacle that prevents people from stepping into their purpose?
Typically, it's themselves. They're looking at their past and they're playing it safe in many instances, like, oh, it didn't work for me before, so I can't do this. Who am I to think I'm not enough? I'm looking back at what somebody else did and what they did to me. And then I'm stuck there going, okay, well, they're living their best life and I'm not going to. And they're comparing themselves to somebody else's highlight reel. I mean, you probably heard all of this before. That's usually the reason that people stay stuck. Um, when I talk about it from a grief standpoint, you look at the 5 stages. I'm either going to be in denial. Oh, it's not really happening to me. I think I'm in acceptance, which I need to be, but I'm not. I'm bargaining. I'm going, okay, well, if I do this, then maybe I'll get that. Those type of things end up happening. So we end up going around the mountain several times until we find someone, a guide who has been there before, and we're willing to say, I'm going to trust you to get me out of this because you've been there and you've walked it. Now, sometimes it's okay, I want it, but I want it for free. People who pay attention. Okay, well, I'll nibble and dabble over here. I'll get it on YouTube. I'll go to a podcast. I'll just get a little bit. They're really not serious about being unstuck. Sometimes it's, I'm so overwhelmed with all the open loops that I have in my life and I can't think. I was up last night, I was in this webinar and learning so many different things. And it's like my brain just did not want to turn off. And so sometimes we're like that. Our brains are going. Either it's the broken tape that we know we need to stop listening to, that broken record, or it's okay, I've got so much information overload. I don't know what to do with it. So there are a lot of reasons why we stay stuck, but the important thing is we want to be unstuck. And I think that's the thing that everybody has to get to. Am I really committed to myself? Am I believing in my future self to say, I cannot stay in this present state? I'm not going to look back at my past state. I'm willing to move forward and I need someone to help me.
That's right. I love that. So you help people reframe their story,
Mhm.
reinvent themselves, and reimagine their future. Can
Yes.
you share, if you like, and you don't have to mention names, an example of a client who experienced a remarkable transformation?
Oh, I have so many.
I
On
know.
the on the personal development side, as I was helping women that were going through divorce, and some of them had some horrific situations where the soon to be ex-spouse was still in the home and they couldn't think. Their children were there. And I remember having this conversation with one young woman, and she had to walk outside because she couldn't talk in the house, right? And she was so overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And I had to remind her because, she was pouring out her heart. And yes, I'm listening to that, but I could hear the birds chirping in the background.
Mm,
And I reminded her, I said, the Bible says that the Lord is singing over you. Do you hear those birds? And that moment, it was like, oh, I'm outside of the situation of everything that's clouding my vision and my judgment. And I can see that there is hope for me tomorrow. I'm willing to grasp onto that. Tell me what I need to do so that I am not hearing the chaos and the confusion, but I have the right steps. That's on the personal side. On the business side, you're looking at data, right? So one of my clients was transitioning from corporate America, and a lot of times we've got the downsizing that's going on, especially as you get older. They're like, okay, I'm kicking the great people out of the way because I'm going to get those in that are less expensive, let's just say it
yeah.
for what it truly is. And so she was transitioning. And so she was going to be a financial planner. Well, we called her a financial engineer because she was an engineer. She's going to really research the data. And most financial planners are not going to do that. But she was trying to do it for everybody. And in the program, in my program, we talked about what she really was good at. And I said, hey, you got to focus, just like we talked before.
Mhm.
You can't try to do it all. She focused on those who were moving their 401ks into, leaving the company, and they were transitioning to take their 401ks with them. She came in with less than $200,000 under management. When I worked with her to figure out her personality, what she was able to do and what was comfortable, her natural progression of connecting with people, and for her focusing in this particular area, in 13 months, she went to $1 million under management. Within 6 months later, she's at $5 million under management. It's those type of things, that those success stories, that really give me pause to say, wow, I'm so excited about who I get an opportunity to assist when they're willing to get out of their own way and say, can you help me with the systems, with the strategies, with the spirit that I need, the person I need to become in order to get it done right.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
So
that's
hopefully,
wonderful.
hopefully I answered that question.
That is amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know you have many, many more, but we only have so much time today. But of course, anybody who's listening and love to get in touch with Dr. Chonta, feel free to do so. We will post all the information in this video, how to get in touch. So, what advice would you give to someone who feels they have missed perhaps their calling or started too late? What would you tell them in that situation?
Well, there's always an opportunity to redeem the time. I say nothing is wasted. Part of my story, when I talked about being an electrical engineer, and my minor was computer engineering, you go, what? You got a bachelor's and master's in that. I remember one Sunday we were renovating the church. We're moving into a new church. I had the blueprint on my bed of this new church, and I'm mapping out the electrical. I'm like, how am I doing this? The Lord does not lose anything. Everything that you have gained, every experience that you have gone through is brought you to this point today. So if you take all of that giftedness, all of that genius, and you say, okay, I realize that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to help. This is how I help them do it. And you say, okay, I'm going to start today. They're waiting for you. So let's not let them wait uncomfortably any longer. And when you start today, you're going to see a massive, unstoppable success tomorrow. But you can't sit and say, all right, well, I didn't do it yesterday. The best time to start is right now. It would have been better yesterday. But if you've got now and you start now, you're going to get there. And
Mhm.
who knows? Quantum leaps do happen, right?
Oh, they definitely do. So let's focus a little bit on business and leadership. Now, some of these questions might sound similar, but I want people to get more and more out of this. So you've
Love
been
it.
called also the one-step shop for faith-based coaches, speakers, authors, ready to 5 times their income and impact. What
Mhm.
are the biggest mistakes, would you say, you see entrepreneurs making when trying to grow their business? I know it's a long question.
Oh, but that's okay because I actually have a lead magnet that goes through the 5 biggest mistakes female entrepreneurs make that are keeping them overwhelmed and unprofitable. I will tell you, one of the biggest ones is trying to do it alone. We say, oh, I'm a solopreneur, and it sounds so good. But I say solo means so slow. Why? Because if you are the major genius that you're talking to every day, you're limited by your own potential. You don't see your blind spots. You don't see what you're missing. You don't have the skills developed. You're not preparing for the next best version of you. And so that's what we have to do. Again, it's looking at my future self. It's believing in that person. Now, one of the things that I have is what I call a crown framework. And you'll see crowns all around me. And the crown framework is an acronym. The N is notions. That's my belief. The W is worth. I have to know I'm worth it. I am enough. I have something I'm bringing to the table. The O is organization. If I don't have the strategies, the systems in place, it's not going to work. The R is reign. That's who I'm supposed to serve. And a lot of times I'm trying to be small when I'm called to serve a larger group. But the C is the beginning of it, and that's my character. So when I talk about leadership, and I was recently on a panel for leadership, I talk about the fact that you have to be a person of integrity and you also have to have the innovation. You can't stay stuck. AI is here. You've got to be willing to see the technology and make the changes that are going forward. So I absolutely love that question. But the five biggest mistakes, that first one is trying to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, and you can't do it all by yourself. Like, at some point, yeah, you're, maybe brainstorming, things like that. But there comes a time where you need the feedback. If you
Exactly.
don't, you're just gonna be circling, not seeing the other opportunities, like you mentioned, and stuff like that. So I think it's very important at some point to spread your wings more and more, because that's how you
Right.
grow. That's,
Exactly.
how I've been with learning alongside coaches, mentors who have huge businesses now, and
Mhm.
they'll tell you the same thing. You can't do it alone, and that's so true.
Yeah. You can't, well, you can't. Now, AI has come in, and I will tell you, I have an AI board of directors. I've got a lot of people on that, and I talk to. I have a business partner that's AI, but I still am in community and I still have accountability with others because I have my own executive coach. I have a coach on the speaking and training side. I've got one on the social media side. We think that if I invest in myself, oh, I'm wasting money. No, you are investing in the best gift, and that's you, because you can't grow beyond what you think. We
Mhm.
elevate head first, right? So a lot of times I'll say you need to adjust your crown. That's seeing yourself the way you're supposed to be seen, where you're trying to go. And you can't do that alone.
Wow. Mm. So, what systems or strategies have made the biggest difference in helping your clients grow sustainably rather than burning out? And I think I know the question answer to the
The
question.
answer to that one, I would say, and I use acronyms a lot, but the crown framework that I just gave you is one thing that I am super excited about. And the reason being that it started over a year ago. I was moving from my Tampa house still in Florida, and the rooms are now empty because I was cleaning out the house because I was moving. And I was going through each room and I was learning lessons. And that's what I taught on YouTube, actually. I taught lessons and tips in every single room to help you grow your business, right? So, for instance, one that goes along with rain. I was out looking at the pool, and a lot of people have pools, right? And there's a vacuum
Especially in
that
Florida.
you can have it that's in Florida, right? Especially if it's warm
Yeah.
weather, right? Um, let's just say we love pools because we can go to a hotel that has a pool, right? And they're going to have a cleaning system. And I was installing a new one because mine wasn't working any longer, but I didn't want to stick that with somebody else. So I put in this cleaning system, this new vacuum, and it was circling, and you could see the difference in what was still dirty and what was clean. You just see it. But it depended on the length of the hose. And what I recognize is a lot of times in our businesses, we're circling this low hanging fruit and we're cleaning that area, but we didn't realize we need to extend our reach. It might be a networking opportunity, it might be a specific room we need to be in because we are called to clean the entire pool. That's the group of people we're called to, but we're only servicing a few. I go in the kitchen and I actually on the video I make shrimp and grits. I don't know if you're a grits person, okay, but shrimp and grits. And I was like, "Oh, there are ingredients that you need to have in your business that bring out the flavor, that make people want it and to desire it. If you don't have that in your business, you're missing the boat." One
Hmm.
of the biggest things I started with was you don't need a website before you build the business. That's like putting up a billboard with nothing behind it. You know how they used to have that, oh, we're opening up a new community and it's a big billboard. It looks great. And you walk behind it, there's nothing. There's not a house that's built. You don't know what's in it. You don't know anything. If you don't have any of those things in your business, the who, the what, the where, the how you're going to help them, there's no point in having a website. It could just be nice, pretty picture,
Yeah.
but when people come in, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
It's empty. So what I realized is I did a room by room development of building your six-figure business based on these strategies and again, making the complex simple, but putting it in a fun way that you go, wow. Now it ended up being a book. And when I gave it to my executive coach, she goes, oh no, ma'am, this is a series. So the first one is out. That's Crown by Design series. And the first one is the entrepreneurial edition. I absolutely love it. What it does for you, it'll give you those things, the frameworks and the blueprint to build your business. But what it cannot do for you is it can't build your business by itself. It can't provide the community or the accountability. It can't provide the implementation because a lot of times, we're going to go get a book. We'll say, I'm going to do it. And then we never do. We're still planning. And so that's what it will not do for you. But I love the fact that, and I've had people who purchase and are like, oh, this is just so interesting because it takes you out of your head in some instances, gets you in the emotion, get you moving, get you action oriented, and then you go back in your head and go, oh, that's what I do in the office. I got to know the data for my business. I don't have a business if I don't know my KPIs, my metrics that I need to figure out. Do I have leads coming in? Am I losing sales on a webinar? Do I not know my messaging? Those type of things. So I absolutely love it. So that's one of the frameworks. I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited about it, right?
And you should be, right? Do you have the book with you to show us the cover, or because that was actually my
Of
next question
course,
about you being the author, because I know you had something, so I wanted you to talk about your books.
Of course I would not have it right here. And I should have done that. I've got all my other books over here. That one is not on I got it in the car. If you want me to go get it, I will go get it for
It's
sure.
okay. As long as of course we'll it's is it on Amazon just so the viewers know?
It is on Amazon, so you can get an ebook there. On my website is where I really have the print books. But then, of course, it's widely distributed. But there are wholesalers that will sell it on Amazon as well. So yes, you can get both the print copy as well as the ebook copy, and it is going to walk you through, each one of the rooms. I give you action steps to do. So yes, YouTube is going to get you started. But then when I put it in the book, I developed even more things for you to do, to know the door. What is your door sequence to get people into the door? Well, hey, if they don't walk up the steps to come to the door, you got to start there. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So yes. And I can't believe I don't have the book around here.
So you mentioned this is one book and then there's many more coming, or you have one or two?
What right. So it's going to end up being a series. This is the one for the entrepreneur. Again, it's the signature blueprint for them building their business. But I also have the framework itself by itself. It'll be a separate book. The personal development side of the house, because every single room also has personal development that goes along with it. There's a leadership model, then there's a CEO model, and then I also do some tools that you can utilize in order to get some of those things done.
Wow,
So
that's
those are
amazing.
coming.
That's
I know,
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. So this is amazing, but I want to now get into a little bit more faith and mindset. So you speak about combining strategy, systems, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
How do faith and business work together rather than compete with one another?
Oh, I absolutely love that question. A
Thank
lot
you.
of times we try to divorce the two. You are a one human being. And when I say adjust your crown, I'm also talking about the fact that you need to see yourself the way God sees you. And you have to recognize that you're bringing the treasure to this world. You were created for such a time as this, for such a purpose. Don't know what that purpose is. That's why you're finding it. That's your destiny. And so when I do that, then I can walk in the things that I'm supposed to walk in. So, for instance, one of the things that I absolutely love doing, and you'll hear it in every one of my programs, is I help women to confidently adjust their crowns, to live their life on their terms with peace and financial security. All right. Well, how do I do that? My faith says, I know you're valuable. I know you have a message that people need to hear. Let me help you amplify it, accelerate your business so that you can move forward in the things that you're called to do. I can't say, okay, well, I want to be, and I'm just going to try to pull it out of the top of my head. I want to be a logistics engineer and I want to drive trucks around. That's not going to fulfill my purpose. I'm going to feel dissatisfied. I'm not going to feel like I'm doing what I've been called here to do because me driving a truck is going to be kind of boring. Yeah, I'll see the sights, but who am I helping? Right? And so that's where that faith piece comes in. What has God called me to do? I tell the story that as I was transitioning from working for this other company. My mom passed away a couple years ago, and that was a big transition for me. I had a lot on my plate, still have a lot of open loops even with that. But I said, I need to pour into me. And I said, you know what, Lord, I'm getting a lot of results for everybody that's coming into my program. And at that time, I was doing men and women. And I can help both. But I said, what is it? Why am I not doing that? And I call it sitting in God's waiting room. And I was like, okay, Lord, show me. And that's when he showed me, you do so much and you do it all in one room. If people come to you and they have an overwhelm with the technology, you can handle that problem. Most people can't. Most people are piecemealing together for their business. Oh, I'm going to go to this person for my technology, this person for my marketing, this person for my speaking, this person for my business acumen. But I do it all in the same room: systems, strategies, and spirit. And I say, Holy Spirit, what has God said is my number one thing I need to focus on today? He will direct my path. He will order my steps. I don't feel overwhelmed. Whereas the world is saying, hustle harder, he says, align deeper. And so when I have the holy alignment, I'm not overwhelmed by what's going on in my business, but I also see the giftedness that he has given me. All right, I've got some motivational gifts. I've got some spiritual gifts. I've got some natural gifts. How do they work together? Same thing happens when I talk about finances. And a lot of people talk about finances and money mindsets and things of that sort. But what he gave me was the personality differences. And I have another acronym. So my engineering comes out again. So there's the STEAM personality, spin, thinking emotionally about memories. There's a water, why attend to every report. I'm just going to have fun and not pay attention to anything. And then on the saving side, I've got the ice personality. I can't entertain. If it ain't in my budget, I'm not doing it. No matter what you say. But
Mhm.
I'm not taking care of me either. And then everybody wants to be FIRE, financially independent, retiring early. So when I use that, I can help you remove the struggle from money management based on your personality, to see the good side of that personality, but also see how it can trip you up so that you now have a technique and a tip that you can then utilize so that you no longer struggle with money.
Mhm. That is beautiful. And it's so true. Like even myself, like I 100% believe that you can have one without the other, because that's why you have so many, people out there who have one thing but they don't have the other one and they feel miserable, or vice versa, is because
Hmm.
they don't balance it well, right? I think faith
Exactly.
is really important, and that's why even, Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention, it wasn't something I just sat there doodled and, oh, okay, that sounds like a good name. I woke up my one day and it just came to me. You gotta
Mhm.
have intention for what you're doing,
Yes.
and things like that. So, sometimes you gotta sit down and really work with yourself, quiet the mind, and things will come to you. And I'm talking about, like, when you feel stuck and everything, just
Hmm.
stop, sit down with yourself. And a lot of people, I don't have time. I have kids running. I was like, you know what? Make the time. Stop giving
Yes.
yourself excuses. There's always time,
When
and
we calm ourselves, we can hear
yes, yes,
and
definitely.
the answers come. But
They
when
come.
we're so chaotic with all of the emotion that's going on around us, the circumstances, the situations, we can't think.
Yeah, like those bird chirping around. And it is said in the scripture somewhere, the birds are actually a representation of our thoughts
Mhm.
scattered everywhere, because birds go out, get their
Mhm.
food, come back. They don't sit around do nothing. They're always scattered. That's like our thoughts. They're scattered.
It can
So
be.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love it.
Yeah. So if you could leave our audience with one message about purpose or success or both and creating a meaningful legacy, what would that be?
I say you one need to align with what it is that you are intending to do. So that's that intention. What was I here? I was here to do. And who was I here to serve? Then you would want to build on that. What am I building? We want to leave legacies. We want to leave an inheritance for our children's children. We want to leave something behind. So build it that way. And then you're going to reign. Who is it that I am supposed to service? What sphere of influence do I have? What's my metron? So when you put those three together, you've got to align, know who you are, that purpose. You've got to then build it. I need that system to be put in place. And then I want to make sure that I'm reigning in that. I'm walking 100% victorious in the things that I'm called to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So one last question, aside from all the questions I had, but of course we could continue forever. It's such a vast topics. Um, the name of the podcast is, as you know, Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. So how important do you think it is to set intentions in the morning or in general? What's your idea on that?
Oh, I definitely think that is important because otherwise you can get so taken up with everybody else's decisions and thoughts that if you don't know what you're intending to do for that day, or if you do your ideal week, this is what I'm planning on doing. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. I think Benjamin Franklin said that, right? So I want to then go with an intention. Now, I might not accomplish it all. I'm the list person. At any given time, you'll see I got 50 million lists. All right, I can show you. I'm telling you honestly, I got lists all over the place, right? Because I know what I plan to do. Now, the other day I had 30 things on my list. There is absolutely no way I'm going to get that done. But the top 3, you start crossing them out. You also then feel accomplished. Hey, I got something complete. But I'm not just haphazardly learning by accident. Again, I say crowned by design. Don't just drift through life. Have a destiny that you're trying to get to and do it intentionally by design.
Wow. Ah, so many golden nuggets. So thank you so much for being on my podcast. And I believe that a lot of people listening will get a lot of value out of this. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Dr. Shante
I
T.
appreciate you having me here. And, my number one goal is to serve. And I know that's yours too. You want others to achieve the goals that they have in mind, to become the person that they know they want to be. And we're here to serve. So I'm so excited that you have this podcast. I speak blessings over this podcast. The intention is that it will reach more people at the place that they are and take them to that next level. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching as well. And see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Great.
Thank you.